welcome back to the Inspired Magazine podcast. My name is Doris Sherman, and I'm the founder and publisher of Inspired Magazine, where we put a big spotlight on founders and their journeys of becoming successful business owners. Today, I'm here with Amber Carroll, who is the founder of the Chicago-based brand Crafted by Carroll. Amber specializes with her brand in sustainable, clean, and cruelty-free candles, sprays, diffusers, wax melts, and accessories. Each scent is designed to transport you to a happy time or remind you of a dear friend or a loved one. Crafted by Carol is one of the many, many, many fantastic brands that were founded during a time where we all struggled with COVID. In fact, candle making has become an outlet for Amber while she was struggling with depression herself during that time. There's obviously a lot to unpack here, but before we do that, I want to welcome Amber to the podcast today. I'm so curious about, you telling your whole story, giving us a full insight. It's so nice to have you with us today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Doris. Happy to be here.
So, Amber, I hate to start off with a time that was obviously so challenging for all of us, but I have to admit, I have seen so many really cool people who turned this unpredictable thing into something really, really wonderful. So, let's kick off the conversation off by getting a little glimpse into who you are and what your background is and how you got into candle making.
Sure. I, of course, like you said, I started candle making during the pandemic. My background is in local government. I work for the state of Illinois. Um, it, when I started, it was at a time where we were working from home, so I had very little interaction with people outside of my home.
Mhm.
Um, I was not going to the grocery store. I was doing Instacart. Everything was on Zoom. There was no interaction with people. I kind of struggled a lot with depression and anxiety. And so one
One
day,
day.
my husband and I figure out a hobby. We were like, okay, I have to do something because I am losing my mind. And so we,
Sounds like he told you, like, woman, I can't deal with your depression anymore. You need something to do.
right. Um, it was like, okay, so we started thinking about different things I could do. We went on Amazon and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make wine, and that
Didn't
was
work.
no bu- no bueno. So then I was like, okay, well maybe I'll do like some soaps or things like that. So we did get a soap kit. Soap kit. He ended up doing that one. And I got the candle making kit, and I was like, okay, I love candles. This is gonna be great. And so I started off making candles, and it was like my form of therapy. Although the candles were not good at first, it was just like a way for me to just relax. I was in my zone in the basement by myself, again by myself, but it was more of a happy time. I was doing something that I was enjoying doing.
Hmm. That's so cool. I mean, I heard from a lot of people that, for some reason during that time, there's it's probably one of the first time you actually have too much time, because you're really locked up and like it makes you think like, okay, what do I actually enjoy, right? It's not like there's no distraction. Like again, you have to go to a job or like, have to go outside or like to the grocery store or something. You're really cooped up and your mind is just totally working different at that time, right? So why did you, so okay, let's talk about first the wine thing. I think that's really interesting. So how did you get on wine? Was it like, okay, hobbies I can do, and then wine was just one of the first ones that popped up, or like why, why?
Popped up. I had saw my grandmother make wine, and I was like, "Oh, how hard could it be?" And if it's good, then I can drink it. But we never even got that far. I was like, "Yeah." I started doing some research on all the work, the temperature that the grapes have to grow in. It was just a lot. I was like, "Okay, nope, that's not it. Back to the drawing board."
Wow, wow. How much time did you give that? Like one try and then that's it? Okay, let's
Oh,
do
I
it
never
next.
tried. Was doing my research. It never got off the ground. It was in the research phase, and that was it. That's as far
Oh
as it got.
boy. Okay. Okay. Well, fair enough. You at least gave it a try. Okay. So, and then when you got into candle making, I mean, I've bought those kits myself, right? And I think I still I think I have some wax left. I tried it once, but you obviously just get a generic, where you sense like they smell like vanilla and like, lavender and all these things. It was fun. It was easy, definitely. But for me, it was like I never really got to the point where it's like, okay, I can take this further. Like, let's do some luxurious candles. It's like what made you stick to it? Like you to even take it further than just to buy a kit?
I think for me, the first few times that I was doing it, it was just so fun that it didn't feel like work. So it was a hobby. It was fun. And so I enjoyed doing it. And so I kind of just stuck with it. And like you said, like a lot of my scents are for people, places, and things that help me navigate the depression. So I would be upstairs talking to my husband. And I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna make a candle for him. Just like we just had a great conversation. He's so supportive. I just love him. So let me make him one of my special candles. They were not that great, but I was just like, I'm gonna make him a special candle. And
Yeah.
so that's just kept going like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did he stick with his plan with doing, you said that he picked the soap? No, no, not making anymore.
No,
That's
no. But it did come out good. He'll make like a couple bars for himself, but yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's dig a little bit more forward. So you found out that you liked making the candles, and obviously there was a big difference between doing something as a hobby, well, versus going all in and like getting ingredients, getting the right wax, and yours are clean candles. So this is nothing that you could find in a kit, as far as I know, right? So
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about your like the first steps when you said, okay, let's pull this off as something professional, maybe even already with the goal in mind, I'm gonna make money with this, I'm gonna pull this off as a business. How did you make your first steps? Like maybe like how did you start your research and finding the clean ingredients, or what does it even mean to do this as a business?
Yeah, so I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I got a lot of candle making books. I took one candle making class, but a lot of things were learned on YouTube U. So just whatever I wanted to know, I would look it up. I would watch videos and then I would try it. As far as like the clean aspect of it, like you said, there are not a lot of clean candle making kits. So
Hmm.
it required me to do a lot of research. Um, I knew that I didn't want candles that were harmful. I know that I liked certain candles from different stores, but I knew they weren't good for you.
Hmm.
So I kind of tried to find alternatives to those candles I knew I really liked and tried to make my own dupe of it and make sure that it had all clean, non-toxic components to it. So
Hmm.
all of that's how I um, did my research when I was looking for ingredients.
Yeah. So did you know from the beginning where you would want to land? Like, did you come in with like a clear strategy? I mean, I actually have three of your amazing candles here right now. And first of all, they're big. Like they are huge. Like guys, if you could see this, like they're like, more than a handful. So and they smell amazing. So and I think you can already see like on your website, like it's very it's positioned as a luxury brand. Like it's not just, I'm not sure, you're not on Amazon, right?
No,
Yeah.
no.
So I think the candles you mostly find on Amazon, they're just like the ones you get at, I don't know, Ross or Marshalls or, just like the normal store. But yours, they seem like because they're handmade and it
Mhm.
seems like you intentionally go for the luxurious vibe. Was that something from the beginning, or was it just something that, developed over time when it came to like, how do I even price them? Where do I sell them? How do I reach my audience?
Yeah, that was not even on my radar when I started. I had just kind of decided that I was just going to make the candles. And then eventually I kind of had just like what I wanted my brand to look like. And so eventually I moved towards the more luxurious vessels. So I do have like my normal everyday line, and then the ones that you have that you just showed, those are from the Luxe line. But
Mhm.
in my candles, I still try to, whether you're purchasing from the Luxe line or the everyday line, they're still all clean ingredients with coconut, soy, and cotton wick. So everything, I still want to keep it, consistent. That's that level of clean and a little bit of luxury too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But what I love is that they're still affordable. They're not like over the top, like expensive, or sometimes you find those candles, they smell amazing, they look amazing, but then they cost like I don't know, $100, right? So yes, and maybe you buy them, but you're afraid to even burn them because you know they will be gone at some point, and buying a new one, you have to invest the money again. And I would think that you, as a business owner, that's not your intention. You want people to burn the candles. You want them to enjoy the scents and everything, right?
yeah.
How was your research in terms of like where do you want to position yourself? Like, did you have like, let's say role models in terms of other brands and like kind of like we're peeking over their shoulders, seeing like how are they doing that or
I did look at some big name candle companies, and then also other candle makers who are on Instagram. I may or may not have visited their website, may have purchased a couple things,
Mhm.
looked at subscription boxes, which is coming soon. So yeah, I took notes from a little bit of everywhere, seeing what works, what may not work, and just built off that.
Yeah, yeah. So you started off with the candles, right? And then, but as I mentioned in the intro, you also have other products. You have the wax melts, you have a diffuser, you have like a car diffuser or like a car sensing, right? I got one of those in the swag bag where we met. They're amazing. I actually just have it in my car. My son was just asking me, since when do you have that golden dangly thing there? It smells like strawberry. It's like, well, I just it up. I think it smells amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I do. I have the candles, the wax melts, the reed diffusers, the car diffusers, like you mentioned, and I also have linen and room sprays as well.
That's awesome. So how did you like venture into those things? Was that something that came on like demand from your clients, or did you just want to diversify, your offer?
So the diffusers were definitely from my customers. So I had customers who were like, "I really love the scents that you have, but I hate burning candles." And so I was like, "Well, I have wax melts." And then they were like, "Well, they get hot, and I have a pet, and all of these things." So I was like, "Okay." Then I'm like, "Okay, so let me think of another way to get these people's money without having to deal with hot wax." And so then I came up with the room sprays and the diffusers, and they were a hit. And so they're here to stay.
Yeah.
They're top sellers.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's really difficult to find a really good car diffuser. There's like you obviously find the traditional ones like vanilla and like all these things,
Yeah.
but to get like something that really, like a candle, like you want to have something special that's not, besides the normal mainstream sense, the mainstream sense. Um, okay, so then let's go into like the first year in business. So when you went, all in, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna pull this off. So how do you remember the first year? Was it like right during COVID, or did you wait until like everything calmed down, everything was open again?
Well, it was during COVID. It was things were sort of opening, but not really. It was in February of 2021. So
Mhm.
it was still very much COVID. And the first year was chaos. It was chaotic. I accidentally opened the store. I wasn't trying to. I had just been making my own website, and I accidentally opened it, and I got so many orders, and I was just like, why is my email going off? And then I checked, and I was like, oh my goodness, the store is live.
Goodness.
So I was kind of like scrambling to get orders done, and then ship them off, and then the post office was dropping packages, and so it was a lot. It was crazy, but it was good kind of crazy for the most part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But so how did they know about your store then opening? I mean, did you just send like a newsletter to, or was it like an Etsy store, or where did they find you then?
So I had the store. I set it up on Shopify, but I had sent a link to like my siblings, my sisters-in-law, and all of them, my brothers. So they had the link, but it was kind of what I thought I was sending them was like a preview link so that they could see what I was doing, but I didn't realize that the link was live. And so they were sharing it with their friends and they were all purchasing.
That's amazing. So you want them to support your business, but not right now.
Yeah, yeah, like look at my website, give me your feedback. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you get feedback or did it just order right away?
I did feedback, so I did get feedback and orders.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, that's a luxurious problem to have, right? I mean, that's obviously the plan. You want people to purchase. Did you ever try out Etsy or, TikTok shop or, Instagram shop or something like that?
So yeah, Instagram and Facebook. So I do get sales from them. TikTok, I am never on TikTok, and I keep hearing people say, no, you have to get on TikTok. You have to use your account. So that's my half year resolution. So starting in June, no,
Well, I would say wait for that a little bit. We don't even know if TikTok will be around then. So
yep, this is true.
yeah, so I would definitely wait until they give the final go or no, just to save you a lot of headache and time and work and like all these things. Obviously, I wish you that you have the most sales ever, but we don't know where this is going. So
TikTok is definitely up in the air.
yeah, yeah, it's so cool. So did you try Etsy too?
So I started creating an account on Etsy, but I think that I'm not sure if I want to go to Etsy. I'm actually working with someone to um transition to Amazon, so I think I'll stick to my website and then
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah. Honestly, I was just reading yesterday a couple, or that actually I was watching a couple YouTube videos about Etsy and small business owners. It seems like, it's kind of like the same with like Instagram. They're making it more difficult for small businesses to actually, you know, boom over there, right? So, um, obviously it always comes down to like descriptions and like fitting the right niche and like all these things, but if they make it so difficult for small businesses who start there and not just who, the ones who already like got there like 10 years ago. I don't even know how long this platform is existing, but it's you really have to be careful nowadays, like where do you spend your time and your money, and like especially if then you think about putting up ads or something like that, that could cut really deep in your budget, right? So yeah, it's always interesting. I'm always asking these questions because some say like, yeah, Etsy was my go-to and it helped me to take off. And then the other was like, yeah,
Yeah.
nah, I don't know. I don't like the vibe over there. I don't like apparently Etsy is not even like really that handmade focused thing because, people
Yeah.
it's getting stuff either like from Temu or from Alibaba, just putting it on Etsy. So it's not the same vibe anymore. But I mean, what do
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Cool. Then, let's talk a little bit about your Lux line. So you mentioned before, so this Lux line you just launched, right, a couple weeks ago. We actually met at the Clean
Yeah.
Living Ecolux experience in Bel Air. Maybe like what was it, like 3 weeks ago? And well, we
Mhm.
talked before, but that was the first time I actually was able to smell your candles. And I mentioned before they smell amazing. So at that time, you were launching the Lux line, right? Tell us a little bit about what is different in the Lux line
Yeah.
besides maybe, you know, the containers, or like the smells. What makes it different?
So the Lux line is definitely geared to be more luxurious, more upscale. Still using the same coconut soy wax, using the CD cotton wick, so still clean. But the fragrance oils that we're using are a little more concentrated, still clean fragrances, and just a little more pricey. So they have a higher concentration, so of course they're going to cost a little more, but
Yeah.
and beautiful luxe containers.
Yeah. So what kind of scents do you have on these? I don't see a scent written on these, right? Um,
They come in boxes with their scent and a little
oh, yeah,
card. So the black containers are the Palo Santo,
this one here is the Palo Santo.
and then the gold is Oasis. It comes in Oasis and also Roses and Rosé. And then
Wait, I love this one.
and then the white one is Tropical Magnolia.
Mm. It's
Hmm.
really tough between these two. Like, oh man, I'm not sure if I should burn them. I probably just keep them like that. No. Uh, No, but well, we will have them in our shop in our marketplace on inspiredmagazine.com. So if you guys are interested in purchasing these candles, they will be available. We will have them in all three. You only have three, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
four. There are
Four.
four scents, three containers. So
Oh,
the
okay.
Oasis and Roses and Rosé both come in the gold.
Okay. Okay. So we will have them on our website. So if you guys are interested in purchasing these, they smell amazing. And I'm really they smell really, really good. You could what I love about them, you smell them even if they're not lit. Like you walk by, and that's what I'm saying. I might not even, keep like one or two, just put them on my shelf and just, get a whiff when I'm walking by. No, they're amazing. I love them. And I have that car diffuser in my car, which I unfortunately don't have in the shop, but these candles will definitely make it in there. Um, yeah, so as a last question, tell us a little bit about your big plans. Where do you want to take Crafted by Carol? You said you tried to want to go on Amazon, or like where do you want to like extend your portfolio? Do you want to do something completely different and add it to the shop? What are your plans?
So I would like to add some new items, maybe some hand soaps, some hand sanitizers. I would love to have my own storefront. And I'm also looking into doing some things, getting some contracts with like some hotels and things like that. So
That's awesome. I could really see your candles in a hotel. Now that you say that, I think that's a really good, or like in a spa or something like that. That would fit very well.
thank you, Doris.
Okay, well, Amber, it was so fun to talk to you. Thank you so much for being so open and giving us a little insight in who you are, what Crafted by Carol is. I can really, really recommend. They are really amazing. And yeah, tell us where we can find you.
So I am on Instagram and on Facebook as Crafted by Carol. And then my website is www.craftedbycarol.com.
Awesome.
That's two R's and two L's.
Very important. Okay, well, Amber, thank you so much for being with us today. And you guys, if you want to check her out, go check out her socials, her website, or go in our shop where you can definitely get those candles too. And yeah, I wish you a very good day, and we see us in the next podcast episode.
Thank you.